Hey, welcome everybody. It's June 3rd, 2025, and we are gathering today for our community call. We do have a few Cosmic Tower questions that we're going to present toward, well, I'll let Nico decide on the order, but we have a few questions that are already ready. We always like talking live with the community, and so if you have questions, then somebody's phone's making a little
I
noise.
already muted, yeah, the person.
Perfect, thanks. And Nico's got a process for us. You know, we made a shift a couple of months ago. You can only answer Cosmic Tower Q&A for so long, and at some point you've answered all the questions. And if you have questions, hi. If you have noise in the background, please keep yourself muted. Thanks. Everybody's welcome here, and we love hearing your voice, but not your background noise. So when it's time to talk, unmute yourself and let's have a great dialogue. So yeah, we decided on a little shift on these calls, and I want to represent that intention for us, which is that I in particular, but maybe all of us in general, can slide to the mind and to an identification with life that's a little noisier than it needs to be. And then we can feel like, oh, I don't know how to connect with my cosmic tower. Okay, I'm going to mute you for the third time. And if you unmute again and keep making background noise, I'm going to kick you out of the room. So I'm not quite sure why you're here, but if you're a member of our community, please respect the sanctity of our sound and keep yourself muted. And Nico, if I'm still talking and there's an unmute there again, let's just eject. You're welcome to be here, and you're welcome to raise your hand and talk. So yeah, sometimes it feels like if we get really identified in our minds that we can feel like we can't feel our towers. And you know, I'm gonna do a little show and tell here. I'm so excited about my new living room setup. I mean, how anybody could live in this space and not feel their cosmic tower, you'd have to really be working at it, right? So this is what my living room looks like now, and it feels really good in here. So you can see I've got a 35, a 75, and a 220, and my mini is on my desk. So, but even I, or especially I, can like forget that the place of connecting with Cosmic Tower is a feeling place. It's not a thinking place. I can't think my way to it.
And there's another. Yep.
And so, hi Karen, welcome. I'm going to mute you. And so, yeah, so we shifted the intention of these calls to have a process involved that helps us connect with our hearts. And we're doing a live event with a guest on the 12th who recently got a cosmic tower, and she's very much chosen a lifetime of knowing her internal guidance and going within really well. And so this is kind of the theme now. And we appreciate the opportunity to come together and to quiet ourselves and to go into our hearts. So thank you for that. And Nico, thank you for leading us in that way. So my brother, do you want to start with that process or some comments, or jump into the first question? It's kind of the stage is yours. And for everybody else, anytime you feel called to raise your hand, just raise it and we'll talk with you.
Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, we'll be happy to answer those, and just put them in the chat. Pat, or yeah, maybe we can start with some questions and then do the process. And process sounds so official, right? It sounds so mentally. And when people talk about, not being able like to feel their tower, like, I'm not gonna say it saddens me, but I feel like they're missing out. Because if you can't feel like your tower, you really can't feel life either. Right? It just becomes this, you're not really living life. It's really, you're just in this world up here that goes anywhere from doom scenarios to like, hopefulness to this, to that. But all this time you're missing life. And it's something, I realized when I like traveled a lot, and I'm in this beautiful place, somewhere. I go visit Pater in Maui, and my mind's going like this. I'm like, Nico, this is stupid. Because you can travel the whole world and still have not experienced any other place in the world. Because what happens when you're there? And if you're just here in the mind, you never even get to experience the place. So really, like this is, yeah, we call it a process. It's just some guidance, but it's really about, for me, it's about being alive and feeling life. And for me, life is like a felt experience because, if we only needed a mind or a brain, why even get a body? We can just like stay up there. You can think all day. I think the whole point of being quote unquote incarnated here is to feel life and feel all of life. So the other thing I want to say about this is, and this is the mind, right? People are always looking for some new technique, for more information, because we get raised thinking that, hey, if we can figure this all out, then we're going to be happy. No. It's when you choose that you're going to be happy, when you choose that you're going to, feel life and be in this moment, that's when you're happy. The mind is what pulls you out of this state. That's why in this call, and I know like we repeat these things and they're simple, but life really is simple. We've just made it so complicated up here. And all these practices are very, very simple, but it's about doing them. It's about being it. And I know how it worked for me. I had to hear a lot of these things, probably a million times before I started to get really, serious. I was about implementing them, and don't worry about it because we have this mechanism. It's called suffering in our world, meaning that there is this unlimited amount of suffering you can help yourself to, and you can take in as much as you want, to get you there, to where you say, okay, now something needs to change, and yeah, and then you start implementing these things. So what we're going to do today is build on the previous calls, really, which is about being present. And also, if you want to experience the subtle, you have to first become more subtle yourself, like in your physical body. I'm sorry, there's some tornado alarm going off here. I hope it's not bleeding through too much in the call.
Okay.
So thank you for being here, and we'll go through this process in a little bit when everybody's here, and let's answer some questions first.
Okay, cool. So the first question, and this is a great time to raise your hand if you have a question. But the first question we already had prepared is, a while back, I bought a Cosmic Tower 35. Well, I have no doubt it's doing good in my home, and I need to learn more how to play with it. Something I observed is that when it first arrived, as I unpacked it, I could feel the energy almost as an explosion. Strong one. For the first few days, I could really feel it working. After that, things almost seemed to dissipate and be less strong. So what are the dynamics at play there, Nico? What's going on?
Well, it's that the mind is really good at detecting change. You ever heard of the principle of boiling the frog? It's not such a nice one, but it's basically if you would put a frog in water, you can keep raising the temperature until they're eventually like boiling, and it will not like even know it until it's too late because the changes are so gradual. So what happens is and this might be a metaphor that some of you are more familiar with. Let's say you haven't worked out in a long time. What happens the first time you go back to the gym or you go running or you can really feel it. Like, "Oh, I can feel it." And then you're on a roll, and a few weeks, a few months later, you're like barely feeling it anymore. It's because the mind always focuses on change and it detects change. So this is the same. So your tower comes and it's like an explosion of energy. So what starts happening is you start to integrate these energies and you start getting used to it, which then over time it becomes your new set point. So now you're at this higher vibration, you're actually at this higher energy, and because of that, it makes it more challenging to recognize where you're at because there's not, such a difference. So it's something that's actually very normal. And it also happened to me. Like in the beginning, I felt my towers really strongly to where now I'm sometimes like, man, are you like, still working or whatever? And I connect with it. I was like, okay, you are, but it's like the same thing. You become so used to it. Right. So yeah, it's very normal and it happens over time. And one of the things, to go about that, it's really to start deepening like your connection and bringing your awareness more to your towers and just, feeling deeper and deeper layers of it. And also life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. Thanks, Nico. I thought I read somewhere that only the largest towers, which I definitely cannot afford right now, helps protect against chemtrails. Would a CT35 and a CT75 be able to do that at all together, or is that combined power not enough?
It's not so um the way to look at this is like the large towers, yeah, they reach all the way up there. So immediately, when they're spraying the chemtrails or whatever shenanigans that they're that they're doing, it's like, yeah, it can address that. It's within its range. But then what happens is like, yeah, a 35 cannot reach, like so many miles up or a 75. So it cannot directly address it as it's being sprayed. But then, all this stuff start coming down, right? Heavy metals, like whatever, what all they put in there. So it's like the moment it then enters your sphere of your 75, right, it can neutralize it and harmonize whatever it is. So you still get the protection from that, but more around your house and in the bubble that your tower creates, versus the large towers being able to really systemically like deal with it because they reach so high. So the moment that stuff gets sprayed, it can harmonize it. So the answer is yeah, the 35 and the 75, they can harmonize those things, but not right away. It's what would otherwise have coming down and fell on your land or being absorbed by your plants or as you're breathing. It's actually harmonizing that as soon as it gets into the bubble of where it can affect it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nico. We have one more pre-prepared question, which is now it's 1 week since the tower arrived at my place. I wonder if the effect of the tower might be too strong for me. I've had it standing upright, but now I wonder to put it down. What is the effect then compared to when it is standing upright?
Yeah, so and this like, this goes back to the first question that in the beginning, you're gonna feel it, really strongly, right? And then you need to integrate the energies, and everybody is in a different place. Right. I mean, everybody's health is different. Also, everybody's energetic awareness is different. Everybody's environment is different. So, depending where you're at, like for some people, they can be like, yeah, I have some mild detox, right? And I feel energetic, and now I have some old stuff coming up that wants to be released. I mean, these are things that we hear a lot. But for some people, the effect can be too strong to where they would like a break. So what this person is referring to is like when a tower stands up, that's when it's most powerful. That's how it's supposed to function. But what you can do is you can lay it on its side if the energy is too strong, and then that actually reduces the energy by like 80% or so. So it's only at 20% of its strength. But honestly, I would only do that if if it's really, really needed. Here are some things that I suggest beforehand. First of all, your tower, your tower is conscious, right? So just tell it that, hey, can we go a little slower here? I need some more time to integrate, right? Or you can envision yourself, or ask it to put a bubble around you and say, hey, I want to take less of the energies in. So with these things, I always suggest working consciously with it first, and then only if that doesn't work to lay it down.
Perfect. Thank you, Nico. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask live? This is a great time. Okay, well, we'll slide into the process then next, Nico. And after the process, we're usually a little bit more in our hearts, which is, I think, why Nico laid out doing the questions first. So you're still welcome to ask questions afterwards. Maybe something will get sparked from that place, and we may just wrap up after the process. So we'll take the temperature of that then, but just kind of letting you see what's coming here. So yeah, if you got something that's rattling around, you're not sure if you want to ask it, do it before Nico starts or right after he finishes, and that's our plan.
I have a question, Potter.
Great. Hi, Jordan.
Hi. So the Cosmic Tower 35 that I sent to my Christian spiritual group leader. So her son felt it right away, had a spiritual attachment issue, and she said that for her she felt it was a bit strong, so she put it under the bed. And I recall when in the tower owners Q&A that that was a while ago, you said that the tower liked sunlight, that I think it told either you or Nico, oh, put me by the sun, which is why I don't have it in the corner. I have it in front of the sliding glass door. So my question is, what is the impact of the reduction in energy and strength by putting it under the bed?
Well, I and I know you're very scientifically minded and an engineer like me, Jordan. So you're like, hey, what percentage? Right? Can you give me an exact percentage? But I just want to give you a different approach. So, um, first of all, the tower is conscious, right? And how would you feel if you go to a friend's house, to harmonize the place and to uplift it, but they want you to stay under the bed or in the closet the whole time? Right? It's just, for me, it's a lot of it is respecting all life forms, and in a way, the cosmic tower, it's a consciousness field. It's alive, so it's about respect. So it's not like the tower is going to get all disgruntled and say like, screw it, I'm not going to structure your water or do anything, like suffer until you move me back from under this bed. It's not like it's going to be like that. But I think you can understand that that's not like a good way to relate with another living being or with another consciousness. So when choosing a place, here's how I imagine it. So imagine that it's like a sun, and it's radiating energy in every direction. Like, what would be a great place to put that so as much of this light can get into the room, can get into your house as possible? So just imagine it as like a portable sun. So I can't really answer your. Oh, you say something, Jordan?
No, my devices, they have enabled talking features of the blinds, and I don't know exactly how to control them perfectly. So my other
No
device is
worries.
talking.
No worries. I wanted to make sure you didn't have a comment. So yeah, I don't know exactly. I mean, but two things with putting it under bed. The other thing is the cosmic towers, like the smaller ones, they don't really want to sit on the floor, right? They like to
Right.
be up about at least a foot. right? So again, coming back to the previous question, if it's too strong for you, find other ways, like communicate with it, ask it to take it down, put kind of like a bubble around yourself, versus like putting it away,
Okay.
right? So find other ways to deal with it, and then keep into account that it's a consciousness, it's alive. Treat it as you would like to be treated, right?
Okay. I have another question in that same line where you said that you've seen a Cosmic Tower 23 take down like another electrically powered scalar device. I guess it sensed that the owner's intentions weren't completely pure. So I guess my question is that uh, can a Cosmic Tower Mini do that? Have you ever witnessed it doing that?
No, and I wasn't there when this happened. This was a really big
Oh,
yeah, I mean, this is how I got to know a bunch of people because it was a really big EES system
okay.
in Las Vegas, right? So I wasn't like
Oh,
there for that. But yeah, you can do these things. But one thing to take into account, because I did talk to Harold, the inventor, about this, and he was not surprised. And he's like, don't look at the energy, look at where the weakest point would be of that system and what it would take to kind of, I mean, bring that down is a big word, right? But the attention had to come there. People had to get clear about what they were doing and what was going on, and it raised all the right questions. So I don't know if a mini could do that, but yeah, I would think so. It's kind of like martial arts, and you want to take down a 300-pound guy or something. You can think of it as in a way of like brute force, or really, you know, hitting the right spot with minimal power, and you can bring somebody that's 300 pounds easily, like to their knees. And I think it's the same here. But I think what's important is also all the discussions this triggered afterwards because people like with the EES system, they became really aware that their intention is important, right? If you're working with subtle energy and all you want to do is just like make as much money as you can and have as many people as possible, use your product is not a very pure intention, right? And this is important because intention carries in every action, right? So, I mean, you can feed people that are hungry, but if you're not doing it with a pure intention, it actually, does more bad than it does good, right? So it raised the whole importance of our intention and how important it is when we work with soul energies.
Y'all have never seen this, but one of Nico's favorite sports is when we're hanging out together and there's a strong young man around who's like, works construction or is really buff. He likes to practice a little of his martial arts, and he will challenge these young men to arm wrestle, and then he will very subtly knock their energy field out and pin them to the table and laugh, and then they will pump themselves up and come back to the table for more, and Nico will smile and laugh and knock them out again. It's really quite amazing when we start allowing ourselves in this plane to understand energy more and to understand the way life works, that the concept of brute force is really not where things happen. It's been fun to be around Nico. In fact, Nico, next time we're together, it was like, if you're coming to Maui again this year, I'm gonna have to find
Mhm.
some strong guys on the island to arm wrestle you just for fun.
Yeah, I mean, for me, especially with like the young guys, to me it's important because it's like a playful and gentle way to open them up. Like, holy crap, everything is energy, and if I can make a connection with you, right, I can either lift you up to where you become the strongest you've ever been, or I can make it to where you have no strength at all, right? And like we do that all day long. When we interact with other people, I mean, think about yourself. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you sending out? So either you're uplifting the world around you, right? Or you're making it weaker. You're making it denser, right?
Yep, yep, it's really, really great. So in the chat, Nico, so having a tower in the corner, is that diminishing the power effectiveness of it?
In a corner of a house? No, no, it does not. Yeah. And and again, for people that are new, like the best way I find to figure out where you're gonna put your tower, there's a couple of ways. I see there's some biogeometry students on here. Well, if you take your pendulum out and you find a little micro power spot or power spot in your home that's naturally already there, put it on there, makes it even stronger. For those of you that are more like feeling and heart-based, pick your tower up. Ask where it wants to sit. Ask where it wants to be, and just let your feet guide you, right? And for those that are not there yet, it is okay. We've given you some gentle guidelines or where to put your tower. Like, don't freak out so much, like over it, right? Relax, like it will work, you know. Just have common sense, right? It's there to harmonize. It's gonna need some space to build its field. Don't put it on your fridge, right? Or it's continuous like disharmonious energy going off. Don't put your Wi-Fi router on top of it. It's common sense. Just find a good spot for it. And I think Jordan mentioned the thing about the sunlight, right? It's not something Harald, the inventor, ever said, but it's something that I perceive because the story is that we were in this house in Egypt, and it was beautiful temple home built by Egyptologists. But the one thing, it all had like blue windows, so it was really dark inside. It was in Luxor to keep it cool during the hot summers. And I was like, man, I don't find a good spot. I feel like my tower, wants, a bit more light. And then I kind of, didn't give up on it, but I didn't think about it.
Are
And
you
then I
done
met an
making?
elder.
Yeah.
Then I met an elder um, in Cairo, and she had been at the house, and she asked me about the tower. She's like, "Hey, I forgot to ask you, but you had this, thing in your home, and what is that?" I was like, "It's this and that." She's like, "Hold on, I already got it." She's like, you can talk to it, right?" That is conscious. I was like, "Yeah, I know." And then she's like, "Hold on, I'm getting a message from it," and she didn't know any of this, right? And she told me, "It tells me it wants a little ray of sunlight." So for me, that was an amazing story because she didn't know what the tower was. I hadn't told her anything. And I had this situation going on weeks before that where I couldn't find the right spot in the house. And then her, without me prefacing anything, she like tuned into that and she came to that same thing. I thought it was pretty amazing.
Nico, something is opening up for me over here that I want to explore. So with the way technology's been functioning, there's been a lot more editing of our words by our devices, right? So I'll go to type a word that feels really well chosen, and my device will wipe that word out and put another word in, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was a good, well chosen word. That's part of how I know, like, oh, those are the words I want to keep using, and I have a fairly strong resentment to the device trying to make my words into its words. But going to the next step, I just connected like 30 years of my life and see an insight about how I can change my relationship with the Cosmic Tower. So back in my first career, which is 18 years as a financial advisor, by about my 5th year, I learned a methodology where basically on a daily basis, I kind of hypnotized myself by looking at thousands of stock charts. And I only looked at 2 pieces of data, and I would just let the patterns soak in and over me. And it was I was engaged in a flow. Like, that's the insight here. And so when we go to write emails from the Wellness Enterprise, there's always like a little way I want to tell the story, or the way I want to, make it readable or whatever. And when I'm sitting here with my hands off the keys, thinking about that, I've got nothing. But then when I actually pull up the document that I like to write in, it's the same document I've been writing in for like 13 years, and I put my hands on the keys, then the words start to flow. And so there was an engagement that I had in those early years in the stock market. There was a way I was like doing the doing of it. So if you asked me to feng shui this room and to make that tower stack that got made here a week ago, and I was sitting here thinking about it with you, I wouldn't know what to do, and I wouldn't want to do it. But fortunately, I had a friend over, and he just moved the first thing in the room. And then once the first thing moved, then all the things moved. And now that carpet that belongs to the woman that owns the house that I'm renting it's in the attic. Like, it got moved up there yesterday, and it's like, it's out of my space now. And this carpet that I've carried from Massachusetts to Texas to Hawaii that I love is now underneath my desk. And I wouldn't have been able to think my way to that. And so I think for me, a way that I can get further into relatedness with my tower is going to be to pick it up, to actually just like hold it on my lap like one of my kids, back in the day, and like just be with it. And maybe, I always watched you take your tower out, like, Nico's 35 has like a suntan from, sunbathing at the edge of the Nile and going into pyramids. Like, he's taken it into some places that you're not supposed to be able to get into in Egypt. And he's taken a tower in there. And there's always been like this flowing way of being it. And then I want to combine this with one more thing that I learned from somebody in our community recently, which is that she started putting her mini like into her clothes. Like, she's been using a sports bra to hold the mini up and like wearing it on her body. And she's like so strong in her reinforcement of how that's positively affecting her life that she was just like texting me every day until I agreed to start wearing a mini myself. And so I decided to put one on my chest as I went to sleep one night. And I felt this like a lot more circulation of blood and energy around me the first night. And then in the morning, it's like, where's the mini now? Because I don't sleep gently. And then the second day, I had more vivid dreams, and I don't usually remember dreams. I was like, that's really cool. And I was like, where's the mini now? And I was like, okay, this thing's at risk, like getting in that bed with me. So I'm not currently sleeping with it, but I am holding it closer much more often. So my invitation to exploration for the community and for myself is to begin action in the thing that we're thinking about as a way to get us into our body so that we are in the feeling state by taking the first step ourselves. I think it's fascinating. I love that all came together. If nobody else got anything, thank you for listening to me. It was really rich.
Well, I know Barbara's on the call, and I know there.
Oh, sure. Thanks for all of that. I had to say, I went on vacation, but before vacation, I've been driving a 25-year-old car and I just love it. But my husband and I, we bought a new car and we were going to drive like 7 hours to where we were going to vacation. And in the dealership, I didn't feel this. I don't do well with Wi-Fi at all. But when we got home and I got into the car, it affected all the electronics. I mean, almost everything is electronic.
I couldn't think straight. All the regular pathways, which are good for me, just weren't working. And I said, I can't stand 2 minutes of being in this vehicle. How am I going to drive for 7 hours? And I thought, the 35, because I remember, Nico, how you packed it in your backpack. So I ran in the house, wrapped it in my favorite t-shirt, put it in my backpack, put it upright behind the driver's and passenger seat. And oh my God, I can be in the car. It doesn't negate any of the electronics. I mean, if I wanted to feel it, I could, but it's stronger than they am. I can feel it in my spine, especially my heart chakra. Everybody's different, but this is how I've experienced it. And it was like, wow. So in the driving, everything's a lot more relaxed. Everything, meaning the humans, me. My husband, not so much, but I was the one being affected by it. So it's like, wow. Took it into the condo where we were staying, and I could never sleep well. We didn't have control over the router or Wi-Fi. It's the cosmic tower. I mean, I slept like a sleeping baby. And then the water, we had to get spring water in plastic jugs, and I tasted it and said, oh no. So I remembered, Patter, you said, put it by the tower. So I poured it into a glass jar, put it by the tower for like about 15, 20 minutes, drank it, and it was different. So, and then one last thing is, we're home and we're meeting friends at a restaurant. And so I don't want to leave the tower in the car. So I took the backpack with me, and then the chair that I'm sitting, I'm kind of small, so I could put it in back. So it was up against my spine the whole time. And all the stuff from the restaurant, like I was just so present and relaxed. And now I feel that, I could always feel the tower, but now it's like, I can feel it talking to me most of the time. So it's like, the relationship has evolved and will continue to evolve, but I mean, that's so cool. So that's what I wanted to share with all.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Barbara. I love how you explore. You're like me, like you play with it and let's try this out, let's do that. And on Sunday, I drove 11 hours and I stopped twice to get gas at my tower there. And I also did some biogeometry stuff in my car because I just like tinkering with stuff. So I created like this really, harmonized environment, and you can feel it. I mean, 11 hours, just 2 stops to get gas and to go to the bathroom, no problem. Like if I would like do that, like I'd be exhausted, at least for the next day. And yeah, I wasn't you know, I love it that way, and I'm glad that you experienced that and that you played with it. And for the whole thing about the water, today we're gonna do something to you can get that water like that instantaneous with your cosmic tower. So it'll be something fun that we'll do.
Thank you.
All right.
Continued exploration.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful since the beginning. One of the things that came up in your speaking is this idea that the strongest energy wins. And, I'll tell a quick story from this morning. So I have a pretty exceptional dog. Like he really is an extraordinary being. And I also have sound sensitivity, which I've been focused on strengthening myself for 5 years now. And I've taken a lot of ground, but there are times, particularly in the past, where some sound will happen and I will just, it's like Jekyll and Hyde, and I just fall apart. And, I keep these right by my workspace. And so if I'm working, like if I'm doing my writing of an email or something and I'm in flow and the dogs start barking in the neighborhood, I just throw these on. I can't hear them anymore. This is a really good pair. But there's a dog about 10 feet away from me right now, out my back wall and across the property line. And that dog lives in a cage 24/7. The people have become owners of that dog to have the dog as a watchdog. And it has a very, deep and throaty bark. And so if anything happens on the street, then Ohia has something to say about it. And that's Ohia's job in their life, is to make noise when something happens on the street. So Ohia's being perfect for their family. But for me, sometimes the stronger energy is the harmony, and sometimes Ohia, throws me off my game, and I'll go like work in the yard or do some weeding, or what I do when it gets really loud around here is I cut the lawn. So my lawn's been due to be cut for about 4 days now, but I haven't cut it because nobody's made noise for long enough to push me over the edge to have to go cut it. Anyway, my dog Blue, a couple of months ago, started noticing this pattern that I have of getting really affected when Ohia barks. And so he's like 2 bedrooms away, he's like down the hall, and when he hears me getting agitated, or he feels me getting agitated, he comes and he walks over, and Blue's not really an affectionate dog, he's kind of an independent creature, and he kind of curls around me and he says, "Here, pet me, Dad. Like, that dog is so dumb, and you're okay. Like, put your attention on me." So it happened this morning on a call I had with Nico before this call. And Nico and I were talking about somebody that we have a business interaction with, who is part of the old world of like domination and control, and they're trying to like exert power over us. And we're like, okay, well, that's who they want to be in the matter. It doesn't change who we want to be in the matter. And so we're going through that dialogue, and that's when Ohia started barking, right? And Nico said, "So how do you feel?" And I was like, "Well, since we started talking about this, the dog next door started barking, so I feel like I want to go strangle a dog." And at that moment, Blue appears and comes over for the affection. And then he's here for, what would you say, Nico? 45 seconds, a minute, something like that. He usually stays longer. And Nico and I are talking about the situation, and Nico says, "Well, it's just a matter of focus. Like, the lesson here is that you just have to shift your attention. The strongest energy wins." And it, like, mid-sentence, as soon as Nico said that, Blue stood up and walked away. He's like, "Oh, I'm done. Like Nico spoke it, Dad's got it. I don't have to be here anymore. I'm going to go back to my morning nap." So this topic of the strongest energy wins, I think, is actually a perfect segue to speak for a second about our road trip, because what we're doing together as a community isn't selling cosmic towers. That's not it. That's the action that facilitates the outcome that we want in life. But what we're doing is we're reminding human beings of our capacity to generate, to live in, to be in harmonic energy fields. And we are building harmonic energy fields that are stronger than the radiation and the pollution and everything that is coming our way. And when we really deeply, fully learn as a species to focus our reality on the love, joy, and harmony, that will be the nature of life on Earth. And so as we go on the Cosmic Tower road trip, which I'm going to give you an update on, the purpose of the trip is to take the towers physically into spaces where people have not felt them before, and to support new people to have a felt experience of the harmonic energy. Because as they feel it, it anchors it in more in all of us. And of course, as they adopt more towers, it becomes easier. So I remember when I started the structured water business, that I had to carry either water that had been structured or my device with me everywhere I went. And the other day I was talking to a client who has homes in California and Texas and Mexico, and he was telling me how he doesn't carry devices with him anymore because there's already structured water everywhere he goes. And the same is true for me. Like, it's not everywhere I go, but a lot of places that I go, there's already structured water. So as we strengthen these energies together, that's when we get to live in that harmony, and that just becomes reality. So this is the week where we finalize planning the road trip, at least all of the parts through July 4th. And the basic structure, what it looks like, is a trip starting in Dallas and going east, with Jackson, Mississippi as the first destination. And then from Jackson to Atlanta, and from Atlanta to Franklin, Tennessee. That will definitely happen June 26th and 27th because there's a big event there that
What's that?
was of the intention of the road trip. And then from Franklin, Tennessee, back down to Asheville the week before July 4th, and probably on to Winston-Salem before July 4th as well. And then a little break for the July 4th weekend. And then the next stop currently is planned for, well, we need to be in touch with you, Jordan, and see if we're doing something in the Maryland area, and then it's a location in New Jersey. 2 words, I can't remember it right now. And then from New Jersey, possibly a stop a little bit north of New York in the Nyack area, just outside the city, about 30, 45 minutes, and then up to Halifax in Massachusetts. So that's the current intended trip. Those are the big stops, and then there can be little stops along the way. So by the end of the week, we'll have a flyer created that will support people to invite. And so if you're a fan of the Cosmic Tower project and the road trip, you don't have to be on the road to be a part of it. You could just send the flyer and show people the dates and the destinations that we have and invite people to come out and feel this. And that's how we do it together. So I love this, that this all weaves together and that we have the opportunity to focus on this really important concept of the strongest energy wins and such poignant information that just kind of emerged. So again, thank you for listening. And if anybody has any questions, please let me know. And if anybody has any specific logistics, you want to invite practitioners who have healing spaces to host an event, you want to visit with Nico as he passes through, you know, any of those type of things, even if you just want to gather a couple of friends, if we can fit it in as a stop, we will. You know, we want to expose the technology to as many people as possible. You know, honestly, we'd love your support with that, because the more of us that play all out, you know, the reason we're going all the way to Halifax, Massachusetts is I, you know, asked Tara, who has a 220 tower there and knows a ton of people. She's an amazing breathwork practitioner. I think a bunch of you know her from the sessions she did on the Lavanya community. I was like, well, do you want to play all out? And she said yes. So I think we're going to have a huge event up in Massachusetts. But you know, in between the huge ones are the small ones. And so if there's a couple people near you, or even somebody you know that's in a location that's not near you that you think, gosh, I would really love to help this person experience it, let us know and we'll find a way to fit everybody in. Okay, I think we're finally at the point where we don't look to see if there are any more questions, and we just move to what you're going to lead us to, Nico.
Yeah, sure. And just a clarification, Patter calls it the strongest energy wins. That's not really, you know, what I said. It's not like my way. That's how he remembers it, and that's what really matters. But what I told him is, like, you can always choose where you put your awareness. So if something is going on outside of you that's discordant or that irritates you, you can always bring your awareness inward, where you have your source connection, where you have a source of infinite harmonization, and you can choose to bring that inward. And at that moment, what you're doing is, if you're outwardly focused and then definitely add emotion to it, you're strengthening that disharmony. While if you make the choice to bring awareness inward to where you have your source of harmonization, not only do you harmonize your own experience, your own bodies, but that harmonization also goes outward and harmonizes anything in the outer world. One of the things I always remember myself about when sometimes I get upset, when you're looking at the outer world, you're looking at the past. You're basically looking at what the sum total of all our decisions, of all our feelings, of all our thoughts, of all our actions have created, right? So for me, it's like a point of reference, like this is where I'm at now. due to the past? What do I choose for the future? And then that starts inward by shifting and changing that. And I'm going to reiterate this again because I get a lot of people that are highly sensitive to EMF, but all day they're focused on sources of EMF. And we have to understand the principle of resonance, meaning what you put your awareness on, you exchange energy and information with. So when you go for a walk and you've kind of got, I mean, look where your attention goes, right? Oh, another 5G tower. Oh my God, an electric car. But there's also trees everywhere. So make it a habit to look at what's alive and to connect with the living energies, because whether you believe it or not, nature comes first and then technology second. Nature will always like be stronger, and we want to align with nature, right? Yeah, we use technology, etc., but make sure that you have what I call many points of resonance with living things. And then to get to the, like, I'm a hypnotist. I did years of hypnosis. I've done countless regressions with people and all kinds of hypnosis work. And people always ask me, is it hard to bring somebody in a trance? I'm like, no, the biggest challenge is to get them out of the trance that they're in. Which is basically the trance of like worrying, the trance of like focusing on what's wrong with the world, the trance of like what's wrong with them. Oh, it's really easy to get them, and I just have to first get them out of that trance, because we are trance beings, right? Like what we consider physical reality is much more of a dream-like state. So in today's process, what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna connect with that part of ourselves where harmony always lives, right? And a lot of you have heard about centering. Well, in biogeometry, we talk about the energy of the center. Like if you take a circle, in the middle, you have the energy of the center, and the center you could call like the source energy. It's transcendent, it's connected to all layers of existence, and it's connected to that source that everything originates from, and we have that right within our own body, and we can always connect with that. And that's what we're going to do today. So in order to perceive subtle energy, we cannot be gross in the body. And what I mean by that is, Zane's not on the call, but if you're doing Qigong, for example, and you're doing quick movements, no, you lose the energy, right? It's all about slowing it down and about first us becoming more subtle first. Only then can we start perceiving subtle energy. And with crows, I mean, not that you didn't take a shower for 2 weeks, but I mean things like physical tension, distractions in the mind, mental noise, dogs barking, right? Those are all things that are very much anchor us in the physical, while we always have the choice to come into that more subtle space. So the best way to do that is with our breathing. So let's just start first with like being here, and you can close your eyes for this, or you can keep them open, whatever works better for you. One of the things to play with that I learned from a Taoist master is if you have them half open, kind of in between the world, that creates an interesting state also. So just feel yourself sitting on the chair, right? And feel your feet touching the floor. Really come into your body, right? And then relax, and just keep relaxing that. Just relax your body. Notice where you have any tension, and just keep relaxing any tensions you have. And then just, focus. And I want you to breathe in and out through the nose. And the best way um, to work with your breath that I found to make it much more subtle is just imagine that you have a feather like right under your nose. And the idea is that you're breathing in and out so gently that that feather does not move. So you can put your awareness in your nose where the air comes in, and you can feel that it's like, colder air. And then on the out breath, the air is warmer. And one of the things I always find amazing about the breath is that just putting your awareness there without wanting to change anything already starts shifting it. And then you can imagine that feather there. And then just breathing in gently and out gently. Slow, long, deep, rhythmical breaths. And as you do this, I really want you to focus on the in breath, just breathing in. But then on the out breath, I just want it to be a relaxation. Every time there's an out breath, just don't focus on breathing out, just focus on relaxing more and more. That's right. So you have a relaxation effect with every out breath. Beautiful. And just stay with that. And as you're here in this more subtle state, breathing more subtle, more aware of your body, I just want you to start moving your awareness to like the center of your chest. And those of you that work with the chakras or are familiar with the chakras, you can focus on your heart chakra and just allowing that energy to become more noticed. Just keep your awareness gently on your heart chakra, or just go in the center of your chest. And just allow yourself to go more and more to that energy. Working with energy is never about force. You can't push energy. Just allow yourself, knowing that your awareness will naturally take more and more of your being there. And that energy that you perceive there, that's the all harmonizing energy of the center. But it doesn't mean that we're centered yet. What we want to do now is like, as you have your awareness there, right in the center of your chest, in the center of your heart chakra, I want you to just allow that energy to expand. So it might be the size of a golf ball at first, baseball, whatever it is. Just allow it to expand, filling up your entire chest. And the secret to deepening your awareness of energy is never force. It's always a process of relaxing more and more into it. So just allow yourself to relax more and more into it, and notice that as you relax, that sphere just naturally keeps growing bigger and bigger. It's like with each breath in, more of that harmonizing energy of the center is filling almost like this balloon, right? And it just keeps expanding naturally and automatically, simply by having your awareness there and relaxing more and more. And then I want you to allow it to expand to where your entire physical body is surrounded by that energy sphere. And then allow it to expand even more and more. And know that now it's also covering your emotional, your mental body, your spiritual body, your aura, if you want to call it that. And just feel yourself in this sphere of pure harmonious energy. That's right. Beautiful. And just keep breathing, just keep it subtle. And just feel that energy of the center not just in the center, but through your entire body and even through your subtle bodies, just completely surrounded by it. That's right. Beautiful. The beauty about this energy is that you have always access to it. You're directly connected to it. It's in your body. So when you encounter a barking dog from the neighbors, maybe you're in the car, somebody's cutting you off or whatever, who cares? You can connect with this energy and know that when you're in this energy, in this feeling that you're in now, there's not even any need to quote unquote send it out. It's just like this radiance that's coming from you. And know that from this place, the law of resonance that we talked about, anything you connect with, you harmonize. Because you're connected with that center, you're connected with your source. So anything you even hear now, you harmonize. Anything you see, anything you touch, you harmonize. And this is my favorite thing to do. Like when I'm watering flowers, when I'm just seeing a tree or whatever, I like to come into this energy and then have the exchange be from that place. And you might not realize it, but it's a beautiful gift to connect from this place with any living organism, with any living energy. And this centered energy that you're engulfed with now, this is also where the cosmic tower is. So what you could do now is like you could just imagine your cosmic tower, you could just look at it and notice from this place, from this space, from this state, how you experience your tower. What it feels. Beautiful. Just stay there for a minute. Maybe it's somebody you want to bless, some place you want to bless. No, you don't have to say a prayer or make an effort to bless. It's simply being in this state. And from here, all you have to do is just put your awareness on that person, that living being, that place, whatever it is, and simply connect with it. And then know true resonance and the fact that you're connected with the center, with the energy of the center. Simply through putting your awareness on whatever you want to bless, it already happens. And the less you try to do it, then the stronger it will be. Just don't get in the way. It just naturally already happens. That's right. It's doing great. So just allow yourself, come back to the room. And then notice as you open your eyes, just how different the world feels. And nothing has really changed around you, in a sense, nothing major, I think. But what has changed is you, right? And know that anything you perceive through the state that you're in, right? Beautiful. So while you're coming out of that and as you're back in the room, let me just show you a cool way that you can use this. So, like a few weeks ago, I was measuring tap water, and my cosmic towers are set up in the home, And I was trying to answer the question that people ask a lot, which is, how long does it take for the tap water to be structured to its fullest potential? And I was like, well, let's go find out, So I would get my biogeometry tools out, my pendulums, and, I'd take some tap water, and I noticed that immediately the water had what we call, a positive rotational personal wavelength. That's just some technical jargon for it strengthens, it's not detrimental to you, right? Now, and then I would measure it again after 2 minutes, after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes to kind of see the effect, right? Because there's an immediate structuring and harmonizing effect with the tower, but then as the water sits out, the energy in the water. But here's the shortcut. So say you take a glass of water or a mug or whatever. All I want you to do is, as you look at that, I just want you to imagine your tower. It's really that simple. So when I did that, if I was just like holding an image, or some of you might be more of a felt perception, it doesn't matter, right? Each of our senses are, I had people that could hear a tower, right? Everybody kind of has a dominant sense. It doesn't matter what that is. With resonance means you just use one of your senses to connect with it. So what I would do is like I would take that water and I would just imagine my tower, like, your third eye, or, you just have an image in the middle almost, or you're just seeing your tower as you're looking at the glass. Well, immediately that energy went to like maximum. Like basically what would happen is in like 10, 15 seconds, like that water would get to the level that it would otherwise get when you take it and you let it sit in the field for like 10 to 15 minutes. And it's simply by seeing that image of your tower, or feeling or hearing or whatever it is for you, right? That's the law of resonance, because what happens in that moment, for those of you that are a bit more technical, there's resonance between me and the water in the cup. But now I bring the tower in. So there's resonance with me and the field of the tower, and the two are directly connected. So otherwise, yeah, your tower would harmonize it, but simply because you, with your awareness, imagine the tower like being there, having the image, there's an immediate transfer of that energy into your glass. So I invite you, I know there's some biogeometry guys here, play with it, see what that does. But for all of you that, are not biogeometry or not into dowsing, play with this yourself, right? And notice water, maybe take some water, maybe use a filter, whatever it is, whatever water that you usually drink, or you get it from the tap, notice how the water is, and then do this and notice the difference. So play with that. So, like, I just thought that was a really easy way to do this. The only thing that will get in the way is your mind. Am I doing this right? Should I look at my tower for like this? How long do I? It doesn't matter, right? The more you get that chatter from the mind out of the way, like you simply do it and you feel it. So it's something like I go overboard on these things. So now when I'm watering flowers and stuff, yep, I'm seeing my tower. I'm feeling my tower. Even when taking a shower, connecting with my tower and with the water, and it's a completely different experience. So I just wanted to share that with you as a quick way, to get your water to that higher level, but more importantly, to not have the cosmic tower be like some electronic device that you sit in the corner of your house and you forget about it. right? The more, because it's a living consciousness, it's a consciousness field, meaning that the more you actively connect with it, the more powerful it becomes. The more powerful you become, the more powerful the effects are. 1 + 1 does not equal 2 when it comes to consciousness. I think most of you know that's an exponential scale, right? That's why a small group of people can really shift the consciousness in an entire area, because it's when we all come into resonance with each other and we're all in the state of being connected with our own source connection, with harmony. I mean, it's just so much more than 1 + 1, right? So I just wanted to share that, and something for you to play with, and
Yeah,
and
that's
do it, because what you are doing is you're cultivating, that awareness of energy. Every time you're making a choice for harmony, the beauty with that is that, and I know this from hypnosis, how does the subconscious mind get programmed quickly? Repetition, and then like what they call emotional amplitude, how strongly you feel it. So that's why I've been absolutely amazed how many people, like, and I go in different homes, that they put their chair or their bed right on a crossing of two bad energy lines. And I'm like, what is up with that? It never made sense with me, because I see it so much. And it is because we're so much focused on technology, on distortion, on this, on that. So the subconscious mind is like, I got it. Everywhere we go, I have to see the 5G towers. Got it. I'll do that for you automatically. You don't even have to think about it anymore. I'll just do that, because that's what the subconscious mind does, right? First things are conscious. We have to make a conscious connection, an awareness, and then we repeat it enough, then the subconscious mind takes it over. Like, first, when you're riding a bike, you got to pay attention to your balance pedal, this, that. After a while, it just goes automatically. The same with where you go and sit. The same with when you go on a walk, what you focus on. So let that be something living. Let that be harmonious, and versus always focusing on what's detrimental or what's not right, because know that your subconscious mind will repeat that 24/7 and might actually steer you to a place that's not good for you, because you've programmed it that way. So yeah, that's what I had, Patter, for today, and thank you everybody for participating and being with us.
Nico, it's so good. I think I got about 15 minutes with Nico before the call, guys. I think this last hour and a half has been like one of my favorite hour and a halves we've ever spent together. It's kind of like I was having a good morning, but now I'm in a different energy field, and boy, this one's very different. I'd like to survey the room a little bit to learn from your experience what just happened for other people. And so I'm going to actually call on people right now. So if you really don't want to be called on, you can leave the room, because what I think I'm doing is helping people who think they're afraid of using their voice publicly to use their voice publicly. And let me be clear, I'm not asking you to say anything positive or negative about this experience. I'm just asking, what was your experience? So it might have been neutral, it might have been nothing, it might have been positive. And if you could just put a couple of sentences to it. And because I know that there's somebody in this room who, the last time I did this, she was the least likely person in the whole room to speak. And I just muted myself until she spoke. I didn't know who it was, but I knew there was somebody. I'm going to call on her first, because I know that helps her to use her voice publicly. So you know who you are, and I just asked you to unmute. And if you have the courage to engage with me again, oh, you do. You are so sweet. Amazing. Would you please share with us your experience of this process and how it impacted you?
Absolutely. Nico, you have a very melodic voice. I actually think I dozed off. I was somewhere else. I could hear you. I knew it was you. And then I kind of came back and I'm like, oh my gosh, where did I go? So it was very peaceful. I didn't feel that I had disconnected from the group, but it was a very interesting sensation. So I want to thank you for that. And Patter, I want to thank you for asking me.
Kudos to you.
Thank you for sharing.
This is the person who least wanted to speak in the Zoom last time. And look at her just jumping up. We can all do it. Now there's somebody on this call. I have really no personal relationship with you, and I don't know what's going to happen when I ask you to unmute right now, but I've just privately clicked the button asking you to unmute. And if you would be so kind as to unmute yourself and share your experience, that would be a gift to all of us. And if it's not right for you, it's okay. This is not intended to be pressure. It's intended to be a invitation to playfulness. Okay, I'm not getting a response on that one yet. So I'm going to move to somebody who I know will speak. And I'm asking you to unmute yourself now.
You are correct.
Yes.
This was pretty fascinating. Thank you, guys. Thank you, all of you. For the last few days, I've been helping to search for a dog, a little old dog that got lost in a very difficult wilderness area. She's been gone since Friday night. So I found myself the last couple of days going into an old PTSD sort of a thing. And I sat down an hour before this call and did a training and a meditation with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And it was all about opening your heart, of course. And then when Nico was talking, I thought, oh, well, while we do this procedure, I'm going to get my tower, who's named Tristan, and have him sit on this little table next to me. So I sat down, I got my water and my coffee, and I have these little stones here. And I sat down and Nico started talking, and my heart split open in a way I don't think it has since I was a child. Just wide. He didn't even have to say anything about, let it get bigger. I've been doing these procedures and breathing into my heart, and I can tell it's gotten protective. And it just suddenly, and having the tower here and just having him say, oh yeah, and all you have to do is envision it. And I felt this wonderful sensation. It was like a starburst in my chest. And then there was even sort of a little moment that almost felt like a pain, which I knew it was going, whew, you haven't let me do this in a while. So, and then of course I noticed there's another Helena whose last name has a B, which I find I've met very few Helenas in my life. I don't know if she pronounces it that way, but this was absolutely wonderful and just perfect timing to help me stay in that expectant state of little sailor dog, whatever her situation is, that she's in spirit and is going to be whatever it needs to be. So thank you.
Thanks for sharing your experience. It's really beautiful. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and ask the next person to unmute. And, the person I just asked to unmute, I know in the past has struggled a little bit with feeling their tower. And if you feel like sharing your experience and are in a place where you can do that right now, then it'd be great if you unmute yourself. And if not, I'll ask another person or two. And I really appreciate you guys speaking up. Like, getting this feedback about the process is really helpful. And just so you know, what I'm thinking about doing is cutting the process out of the recording and making it available to people so that they can learn about cosmic towers, even if they don't own one, and learn about settling into their own heartfelt space, whether they have a tower or not. So, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and ask another, and if you see that ask to unmute button coming up on your screen and you have the willingness to engage, that'd be great. Okay, Karen, yeah, thanks.
I have to apologize to everyone. I didn't know I was unmuted when I came on. I'm so sorry about that. But the that was amazing and so simple. But I love what you said, Nico, about that we're all, the hardest thing for a human being is to be present, right? Because we're already in a trance. So thank you for explaining that. Yeah, it was just anytime Nico speaks, I listen. So thank you very much for providing this, and this is wonderful. And
Well,
I just want to clarify one little thing that Nico said was the center of a circle is source energy. Is that what you said?
yeah, the center of anything,
The center of
right?
anything is source
Yeah,
energy.
yeah, right. And that's where it like manifests from. So, when they say in Lakesh or like the divine within me, sees the divine within you. I'm probably not a good, probably butchered that, but you can always do that, but focusing on the center of something. So that's where the divine is present, right? Because if you a circle is a 2D representation, right? But if you take the point in the center, there isn't really a point, right? Because if I put a point there, that's a circle in itself that has a center. And then that has a center and that has a center, meaning the center is transcendental. The center is the portal, it's the gateway that connects to all the higher dimensions. And it's true centering, right, that we can either access that portal and do it. I mean, this goes way further. I mean, you can access other dimensions, you can travel. But what I really want to show here today was that you can actually, through just your awareness, like allow that energy to expand out. And it's that simple to be a blessing for anything or anyone. And yeah, thank you for being here and participating because, like, this is how I first learned these things. I'm glad we're doing this as a group because group energies that it has an effect, right? And you might be able to access different states that are just not so likely. That might be more challenging to access for the first time by yourself. But then once you've accessed it and it's in a group or in a different setting, now you know where it's at. And I'm not knowing, I don't mean this mentally, but I know this felt, this feeling. And it's like now you have a map and you know how to get back uh, to that place. And
Beautiful. Thank
also,
you very
and
much.
also the fact that we're all doing this together, this has a tremendous effect, not only on your own environment, your own house, but all of us together doing this, it really shifts, the energy around us and the energy on the planet.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you, Patter.
Hey, thank you, Karen, and thank you to everyone who has shared. I really appreciate your sharing, and we'll see if there's anybody left that wants to share. You're welcome to volunteer if you have an experience that you think hasn't been voiced in your experience of this, or you're one of the people that I've clicked the ask to unmute button and you want to unmute now. We'll just make space for a final sharing or two. Hi, welcome. Do you pronounce it? Helena. Helena, hi, welcome.
It's very serendipitous that I came across that this Zoom session was going to be on today. And I just didn't hesitate. I'm like, oh yeah, it's been a while. And what was really important for me is because I have the towers, the mini and the bigger one. And I was thinking the other day, do I need to recharge it or do I just let it sit alone? And Nico, when you are saying, like talk to it and it's like, of course, bring it into my space. So I just want to thank you for that, so that now I know what to do. And then I put my my mini, and then my cats came, and it's like feel the energy, and so yeah, so this has helped to restore why I bought this in the first place. So and I like the idea of thinking about it when you're watering the plants, now that we're in the season of going out and being in the garden doing that. That's a good thought. Or if an unpleasant thought should surface, then just reach for the tower and then feel better just all around. And then I really feel that energy will spread.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Helena. And here's the beauty of this. When you do this enough and you do this over and over, the subconscious mind will naturally do it. Right? Like just like how we create quote unquote bad habits, but focusing on things over and over that don't benefit us or don't benefit the world, the other way around, it works too. And then you can become like a walking blessing anywhere you go. And you know what to do in any situation. The most important thing is always what is your own state that you're bringing to the situation. And when you get that right and you can be centered and you can be harmonized, then it doesn't matter so much. Over time, your mind will let go. What should I say? What should I do here? No, who are you going to be first?
So I just thank you for this session. Yeah, I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Helena. Thanks for participating. I appreciate you and appreciate everyone who has shared. There's a question in the chat that we missed, Nico. I felt a desire to place some sacred stones on my 35, shungite, labradorite, and a rainbow jasper. What do you think of this idea?
Yeah, you can do that. In generally, we always recommend to test, right? When you put stones around it to make sure you're not like interfering, with the tower. It's not like it's gonna negate the tower, but it just might be like, oh man, you put this shungite here that hasn't been cleared in a half year. That is like full of EMFs. It's just giving me more work. Right, but in general, yes, but always test and always feel. I've done this. I put crystals around my tower. I play with it. I think it's fun. But the important thing is to not just do it and make it a mental act, but then feel. How is this different? Right? And how does that make me feel? So yeah, play with it and notice what difference you notice.
Yeah, thanks, Nico. The person who asked the question says she's a dowser, so I think she'll have
There you go.
easy.
Then you have the answer. Always be testing, like test it for yourself.
Yeah, beautiful. You guys, what a beautiful call. Thank you so much. Thanks for all of
you.
your open hearts and your willingness to explore life from a different perspective and to be learning who you are in communion with us. I mean, what a joy. You certainly saw on this call that I learned about myself just by being with you. So I thank you for having that same kind of spirit, and for everyone that shared and didn't share, and everybody that accepted the invitation, didn't accept the invitation. You did it perfectly. It's all good. We're just the perfect community here today. So thank you for being a part of it, and I love that technique emerged of being able to ask you without anybody knowing that I asked you. So now there's like a really gentle way to do it. So you don't have to expose anybody in any way they don't want to be. So we'll do our best to keep being guided and gentle here, and making space also to encourage us to be great. And I think that's happening. That's what my experience is. So that's all I got. Thank you all for being here. Our next event is on June 12th with Becca at 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's a Thursday. And then after that, we'll be back. We'll have to look at the first date in July and make sure that that's the right one. But the intention is the first Tuesday in July. And we'll go from there.
I think July 1 is a Tuesday. So we'll see.
All right, sounds good. I've lost track of the unmute everyone button, so I think it's over here. So y'all want your voices to be heard as you exit.
Yes.
And it's time to say adios.
Did you want to
Thank
ask me
you.
something?
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Here.